Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Fierce Women TV. I am your host, Christina Aldan. I'm here with Sandy Herrera today. Hello, Sandy. We were talking a little bit earlier about what it means to be a fierce woman. We were talking about mentorship, leadership, men as allies. It's really important for us for the Fierce Women Project and all of the work that we do. So, let's talk a little bit about the work you do with your nonprofit, Got Core Values. This is how I was introduced to Got Core Values. It was through your TEDx talk.
Yeah.
And as a fellow TEDx
feels like
speaker,
so long ago.
I know. I know. I just remember being in the audience and sitting there and going, wow, she's doing such cool things. How is she taking on such a big chunk? I mean, this is a big undertaking. And now here you are 5 years later, and you're taking even on a bigger chunk of other things, and you're getting the results. This is what's so cool, to be able to watch it grow, and to be able to watch you expand your programs and into your consulting work and into your global training, which we'll talk about later. But let's talk about Got Core Values. How did that come about? You just decided one day, you know what?
I think
I'm going to start a nonprofit.
I wish it was that easy. I wish I could just say, all of a sudden it just fell in my lap. And it's funny, as I hear you talking about it, I'm like, yeah, I've done that. Yeah. Oh, wow, I've done that too.
Yeah.
It's almost like when you're in it,
Yeah.
you don't realize what you've done or the impact that you make on the world, which I think is true for every human,
It's
right?
important to celebrate.
It's so important to celebrate. And I nudge everyone else to do it, so thank you for helping me look back a little bit today. So I appreciate that. Got Core Values actually started as a brainchild when I was working with Delivering Happiness. So I met Tony Hsieh in 2008, 2009, and we became friends. And at the time, I was a realtor.
Okay.
And began helping him with different real estate things, introduced him into the developer partners that ultimately helped Zappos move into downtown Las Vegas. And it was all at the time that he was launching Delivering Happiness, the book, and doing the book tour. And then he decided to turn it into a company. And I said, hey, I love what you're doing, happy to volunteer, whatever you need. And 3 months later, I was running internal culture and internal operations. And through that work, there were schools that were reaching out and getting a hold of the book and saying, will you help us use happiness as a business model? They wouldn't use that language.
Right.
But we want to be happy like Zappos too. Can you help us? And I would have professors call and say, hey, do you want to, can you help me actually create the curriculum to go alongside the book? I had to.
Sure.
It's great. We're focused on transforming corporate culture, but I have a huge passion for school culture. But at that time, it was just kind of a burning desire in me from an unfortunate experience, which I've talked about on other videos about my son and his experience in kindergarten from one school to another that had everything to do with the culture of the school and nothing to do with the academics.
That's right.
And so with that deep-rooted mommy passion and then the work that we were doing with corporations and transforming their culture to be similar to Zappos and living true to their core values, I just started volunteering with all of these schools.
Okay.
And it grew to a place where Delivering Happiness was a stable startup, and Jen Lim, the CEO, she was like, Sandy, you're passionate about this, go build it. She was almost pushing me out of the nest, saying, go build it. And I'm like, okay, I'll build the plane on the way down. I'm not quite sure how this is going to work.
Right.
And truly, that's how Got Core Values came to be. I started, I had an LLC set up because I had been, my own boss doing real estate for several years. And so I didn't have to worry about the legal structure. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start because I just want to do this work. Got Core Values wasn't even a name. I literally just started working with a couple of schools here in town who were willing to be part of a pilot program.
Yeah.
And it just took off from there, and
it grows organically. I find when you match up values, right? Suddenly things just take off. I mean, it's been that way with the Fierce Women Project as well. We've already, like I said, we've run programs in 4 different states already, and we only just set up the LLC. We're only just getting all of the things going, because people are really excited to get on board with the values. And even though we say, okay, well, we've done this structure, we've got this, and people are trying things out, it's interesting. Then it's almost like a collaborative, the movement grows itself almost, right?
Right.
And so you don't even feel like you're driving necessarily. You're just kind of making connections.
Absolutely. And there's been so much momentum in the corporate world to pay attention to happiness,
Yes.
really, and
Yeah.
well-being of the humans that make up our companies. And this has kind of been a global thing. And so obviously I was a part of that, being a part of delivering happiness and connected to Zappos and Tony's work, and really just starting to read and pay attention to the science of happiness and positive psychology and all of those things, and then going through my ORSC training, and then going through the Entrepreneurs Institute training, becoming a performance consultant for Talent Dynamics, and all of these different things that have just kind of fallen into place at the right time.
Yeah.
And I've been able to see that trends in education kind of follow trends in the corporate world, and human behavior and culture is no different.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. Now, if a school wants to become a part of the GUT Core Values tribe, and
Yes.
they want to adopt the program, what does that look like? Because I think it's a 3-year commitment minimum.
It is a 3 to 5 year commitment,
Okay.
and it's really dependent on where the school's at. I come in and I customize the program. I meet you where you're at, and it's the first hour is I come in and I do a culture audit with you, and that's free. I just reach out to me, send me an email, and we schedule a time, and I'll come in and we'll have that conversation about what's working, what's not working, what are your goals for your school, how is it right now, and what do you dream it to be? Excuse me. And then I had that little cold last week, and so I still got this frog in my throat.
No, it happens.
Excuse
it
me.
happens. And so then, as you're moving forward after that, because I think you work with the administrators first, right?
I do.
You have a top-down approach. It's not like you're going in and you're going, okay, these schools are a mess and we got to fix these kids.
Right.
That's not your approach.
It's not about the kids being a mess, really.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's a mess to some degree, right? It's like we're all human.
That's a whole different show entirely.
That's a whole different show. We're all a little left of center, but that's what makes us human and what makes us amazing.
Yes.
I always say, just be true to the unique, amazing human you are. Just do you.
Yeah.
And so I actually go in and I work on our schools as a workplace, because if our schools are a great place to work, they will be a great place to learn. Because educators are the most passionate, driven, give you the shirt off their back.
Yeah, they're definitely not doing it for the money.
They are not doing it for the money. And I tease them every once in a while. I'll say that, is anyone in here doing this for the money? And they all laugh, obviously, and go, no.
Right.
So it truly is about just reigniting that passion for them, and bringing that heart and soul back into education by paying attention to them as human beings and giving them the tools and the skills to work well together and create this positive work environment. And that starts with the leadership team. The leadership team has to be unified, it has to be consistent, and it has to be stable. And once the leadership team is there and they're a team in flow, then I can begin to work with their greater culture leadership team, where we bring in school leaders and we begin to articulate the core values of the entire school community. And then that's when I start teaching what is a core value. How does it at play every day, whether you're paying attention to it or not? And how do you articulate your own? And then how do you live true to those values?
Yeah.
And then we infuse that into daily life. And that's why it's a process. It's not a one and done.
No, 3 to 5 years. Gosh, I'm thinking like 10 to 15. Actually, let me just send my kids just to you.
Right.
Let's just I'll pick them up when they're 18. No,
We'll
but-
trade. You can have my teenager.
Okay, there you go. The thing is the reason I say that is because it's reading, writing, arithmetic. We don't learn communication. Most of us don't learn it at home. Emotional intelligence. I mean, like you, I was doing a few things with emotional intelligence intuitively before I learned the whole framework and the words around it and the language around it. But most of us aren't taught that. So this is really cool. I love that you're going into schools and really impacting. What kind of results are you seeing from?
We've got high schools that I've worked with that are seeing a 25 to 35% increase in graduation rates.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Yeah.
seeing tremendous increase in teacher and staff retention.
That's important here in Las Vegas.
It is.
Yeah.
And understanding that when I say staff, it's the support professionals that are there, that are the glue that hold the school together. And if you have turnover within your
There's
support
no
professionals,
consistency.
they have an impact on the students as well.
Yeah.
And happy teachers, happy kids. And people know that, right?
Yeah, delivering happiness. Yay. I wonder about the process. If somebody wants to sign up, do they nominate a school? Does the school principal come to talk to you? Is there
You know
how,
what?
how does it work?
It's been different for every school.
Okay.
But if any school in particular wants to reach out to me, just go on to gotcorevalues.com and my contact info is on there.
Okay.
And then it's, if you also know of a school that you think might benefit from it, shoot them the website.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, as you're choosing schools, I'm sure you get inundated. I mean, how do you choose those schools? Is it different every time? Because I know that the executive team, I mean, the administrators really have to be fully on board and
They do.
committed.
They do.
How many schools have you picked so far in these 5 years that you've worked with?
So I've worked with over 30 schools in varying time degrees. And usually what comes in the way is the financial side of it. Hence becoming a nonprofit, was
Yeah.
to open the pathway for corporate sponsorships, to open the pathway for grants
Got it.
and donations. So we have kicked off our Trusted School Awards, and so we'll be doing our second round of Trusted School Awards this spring. And so that's coming up. But it really is about the school kind of just showing up and being ready. And even if I work with a school for say a month, or I go in and I'll do the culture audit with them for an hour, and they're like, yeah, this is great, and then it's really hard to get a hold of them again.
Yes.
They're not ready, and that's okay.
Right,
and
right.
when
Got
they
it.
are ready, then it'll fall into place.
Yeah.
And I just trust that.
Yeah. Now, you're working with 30 schools. Is it like you can't go shopping, you can't go to the theater, everybody knows you, all their kids, right? Are you,
Yes and no. Yes and
Okay.
no, because they're varying degrees of working with these schools.
Got it,
And so
got it.
it's just different. There's some schools that I'm just working with their principal. There's other schools that I'm working with just their administrative team.
I see.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I have a high school that I'm working with this year that we're just now rolling out their core values. So all of the last, it was about a year and a half that I just worked with their admin team. No one else
Yeah.
at the school would have known who I was.
Got it. You know what I love about the work that you do too with Got Core Values is that you are pulling in the core values of the school. You're not coming in and going, all right, everybody, this is
Right.
how we're going to do things.
Right.
This is what we're doing. These are your core values. Now learn it,
Right.
get to it.
Right.
That's not what it is. You're meeting people where they are. You're asking them, helping them fully develop and clarify their own core values. And then you're kind of just guiding them along the way to say, look, this is how you can implement them on every single level. It's very similar, actually, when I think about branding.
Right.
We talk about, all right, what's your company about? What are your values about? How is it being elicited through your logo, through your website, through your products, through your services?
Your culture is your brand.
Your culture is your brand.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's
yeah.
the same in schools.
Right. Now tell us a little bit about these Trusted School Awards.
Yeah, I was super excited to launch them last year, and it was almost that I know I need to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, so I'm just going to do it. So I
You're
was
so my sister from another
Excuse
mister.
me.
I'm telling you.
we do things the same. It's like, okay, let's just start it. Progress, not perfection, right?
That's
And so launching the Trusted School Awards last year was really, I did it in combination with launching Got Core Values as an official nonprofit. And so it allowed me to really just showcase the schools that are dedicated to making
Yeah.
a difference and becoming trusted within their community, because we know that trust is the measurement of value. And when you value something, you'll dedicate time, you'll show up, it creates the attraction.
Trust is the measure of value.
Yes.
I like that.
And
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. That
so
makes
if we are this central hub of positivity and we're trusted as a school, then we're attracting good community partners to help us make a difference for our students. We're attracting good parents to come in and help us in that family engagement. We're attracting good teachers to teach our students, good
Yeah.
support staff. And so looking at
frustrated
all those
parents,
pieces.
frustrated parents are going to be coming in constantly
Right.
if they're not happy, and if
Right.
the values aren't in alignment, and if they're not being elicited through and shown through everything. I wonder, have you worked outside of Clark County with Got Core Values, and is this model applicable to other schools around the nation? Because I would really love to see it everywhere, where people are trying to understand and foster and cultivate more emotional intelligence and pride in their school. I know you've done things where there's painting and there's a whole cleanup of the campus and all those kinds of things. How can we apply this to other schools around the nation, and which schools have you worked with? Whether states, cities?
So there's, I've worked in several different states, and it's been kind of a one-time workshop here and there, but I've actually just started in Florida with a charter school, and they were okay getting on board with me coaching them over Zoom.
Oh, huh.
So
yeah, I love
it's
Zoom.
my first video coaching with a group. I've done
Cool.
video coaching for 1 or 2 people, but to actually work with their entire culture leadership team.
Yeah.
And it is going phenomenal. They actually said to me, I started every workshop with gratitude, being my number one core value, and they ended up saying, I asked what they were grateful for. They were like, "We're grateful to be here. We're excited for this."
Good.
And I was thinking, I'm like, who's excited for a training? And I was like, okay, apparently we're doing something right together. This is fantastic.
Yeah,
and
lots
so
of
they're
times
really,
when it's training, they're like, okay, you heading down to the conference room? Yeah, we got our
Right.
training today. Yeah.
but we're taking the time to really tap into what they need and what's best for them, and we're co-creating their culture.
Yeah,
and
it's got to be
really
win-win.
making a difference.
It's got to be win-win in any kind of
Right.
community relationship or partnership. I like that, and I like that you're expanding your circle of
Yes.
influence. You're
Yes.
expanding your reach. We talked about that a little bit earlier.
Leveraging technology, which is a
and
whole
leveraging
new
technology. Yeah,
whole
no.
new adventure for me.
No, that's great. If somebody wants to nominate a school for the Trusted Awards, can they do that? If somebody
Absolutely.
wants to
Absolutely.
nominate their own school, I have listeners and viewers from
Absolutely,
around
yeah.
the country. Are you accepting applications?
Absolutely. Just send me an email at sandy@gotcorevalues.com, and it's SANDI. If you want to nominate any school to be a trusted school, I am happy to take those nominations, and
Awesome.
then I'll get in contact with that school.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. We're going to talk in the last segment. I've got a little bit more time after the break with you. We're going to talk about your consultancy. I'm excited to hear about this mastermind.
Yes.
I was looking it up, and now this is going to be a global mastermind
It
as
is.
well, so I'm excited to hear more details about that. Yay, technology.
Right?
Again,
Right.
you know,
So many good
I'm the
things.
techie girl, so
I'll
I
get
love
to tell you
that
about Bali
stuff.
and everything.
Oh, I'm looking forward to hearing about Bali again right after the break. Please join us. We're going to take a quick break here, and we will be back with Fierce Women TV and Sandy Herrera. Thank you.